Yo,
Sup?
sup? People are telling me it says that you're offline. Um,
Oh no. Yeah, so we got the OGS banner before we got the live stream.
yeah. And now I should be able to see everyone. And I have a key that would switch me to.
Yeah, so we got the OGS banner before we got the live stream.
Is there like a
Now I
list
should be
of
able to see
viewers right now?
Well, they're not in the game.
And I have a
I don't have
key that
Twitch
would
up, so I can't
switch
see
me
who's
to.
here. Yeah, so we got the OGS banner before we got the live stream. Maybe I should maybe
Is
Twitch
there
up and
like
then
a
just mute
list
the
of
volume or something.
viewers right now? I'm going to close the Twitch window because there's a lag, and, and sometimes there's double audio. Uh, Actually, though. For some reason, I sound really different on the microphone. For some reason, I sound really different on the microphone. Hold on. Oh, there's the viewers first. For some reason, I sound really different on the. Come to the review, people. Yeah. Starting. Oh, and hello Goku. Nice to see you here. We'll be starting the stream in a few minutes. Okay. And yeah, I'll be checking the messages. So I'm going to start, and before that I'm going to say hi, and you can say hi to them as well. hotkey for switching scenes. Oh well. Um, yeah, we're good. And here we are. Okay. Should be good. Should be ready to go in just a few moments. And oh, Mark. By the way, can you see my face cam right now? I look a lot younger than you think. Yeah. So first of all, happy Friday. It's another weekend, and it's the day everyone's been waiting for. um, and hopefully this is gonna be a lot of fun. And this week we have mark5000 with us. He's been an OGS moderator and a very prominent teacher. Standing ovation. uh, yeah, yeah. People love you. People love your work, and yeah, and I got a lot of my inspiration from him when I joined OGS. So he's one of the great people that I have the pleasure to meet, and today he will be commenting on some open theory and games with me. And yeah, and later we'll have a game review between Darsey and Taro. And Taro has been one of our most dedicated viewers, and in appreciation of his participation, I thought we'd do something fun. So we might review one of his more intense games. And there's a lot of epic fighting, and the game was pretty dramatic. So we're going to look at that very soon. Before that, I want to cover some of the stuff we missed in in last week's show, because somehow the Twitch recording did not work out, and I lost my backup recording was kind of corrupt. So this time I try to make sure that there will be some stuff uploaded to my YouTube channel. Well, I don't have a personal channel, but you guys can. Oh, actually. Oh, why is that? Hold on. Yeah, how about this?
I don't know. It sounds good to me, but that's because I'm not connected to the Twitch sound.
Yeah, guys. Okay, I just changed my settings on OBS. Try refreshing. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, that's because I changed my my settings on OBS sometimes I don't know why they would like jump back. I reset it to like 100% and 80% so that Mark's voice will be like 80% the volume of my voice. Yeah. Nope. Nope. Well, if Franzisa comes in, then I have to set mine to like 50% and his to like 100%. Because he's like a hidden 9-dan professional. Because he actually beat me once. Yeah. 19 by 19. Without handicap. I just blundered. I figured I still had a chance even after that blunder, but I was like so frustrated that I just resigned. Oh, okay. So Menard said my voice has echoes. That's weird. Actually, let me just go to my yeah. I just Actually, it sounds more like chorus.
Oh my gosh.
I was in the school choir a long time ago. So, thanks for that. I appreciate the compliment.
A tenor or bass or baritone?
I forgot. Maybe I was one to.
Sound like you could be a tenor.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, that was before. That was like when I was way younger. Or no. I was not in choir, but I was actually really good at singing. But yeah. Don't use electric guitar pedals for Fridays. By the way, the wah would be great. Okay, so if the sound is okay for you guys, then we will get started and talk about some actual gameplay. And just before that, as you guys all know, registration for March's TNL or the Nova League has ended, and I'm trying to work very hard on actually figuring out all the league pairings, and so that would take like 1 or 2 days, but eventually we'll make sure that everyone's happy. And oh, is the audio okay, by the way? Yeah, but we'll make sure that the promotion and demotion system gets implemented the right way, and meanwhile taking care of the new players. And in the meantime, we also have a couple things going on. For example, we still have a little more than a day for the rest of the league, and you can schedule and play your league games by then. And we also have a March poll. It's looking very close, and we'll end that tomorrow. I think 1900 UTC, and we'll eventually have the new time settings for March. And Mark, you've been quiet.
Yeah, it's not much to say. We need to get into the game.
Yeah, but well, we talked before the show, and you told me you've been working on this SGF file, so why don't you tell us more about that?
Oh yeah. I've been doing a lot of opening research in the past 2 months or so, and I've been putting all of my findings and just dumping them in an SGF file where I've created a bunch of variations. Uh, right, it looks kind of like an abbreviated version of PS.wall theory, if you've ever been there.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is I'm using a down bot, the Crazy Stone, which is
Yeah.
five down on KGS, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been going through and evaluating a bunch of positions and trying to find out, because the bot's strength is like positional judgment.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of bad at fighting, but it's got good positional judgment. And I'm just curious, just what does it think of the professional openings? And I've been seeing what values it gives with basic Komi and trying to trace it backwards to see, well, if it wants to give a good evaluation in the end, what variations would it play? What does it think about the new and hip openings in the pro world?
New and hip openings.
Yeah. And actually it's been really interesting. Mostly it's a confirmation of what the pros do, which is not a surprise. If they find a new variation, then it's usually better, which is good. It means that the creativity that we have is working.
Yeah. I mean, some pros play on the 8th line nowadays.
Yeah, I'm not certain about that. No,
But
I've seen like Cho Yu's new opening where he was trying in 2012, and he just does like all like 6-10 points just all the way around the board.
oh my god, that's insane. Well, I feel like that's always a good thing because creativity is key to the development of Go.
Yeah, but I looked at it, and the bot seems to think that it was pretty bad for black.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But that's unsurprising, It's if you open like that, then what you're really after is you're after middle game superiority. You're not
Yeah.
willing to give up a few points in the corners just to get a center hold.
and yeah, and usually, I don't know, when my opponent plays plays at 4-5 or 4-6, it usually gives me that element of shock. And sometimes I just don't.
4-5 isn't that bad. You see it.
Four
You see it
five
pretty
isn't
often.
4-5 isn't that bad, but 4-6 maybe, or like even just play the Tengen from the very start.
Oh no, please no.
That's an element of shock there. So yeah, sometimes it will work, but I'm really glad to see that we've derived from the conventions of openings. Like a long time ago, let's say about 100 years ago, everyone thought that the best move to play on the board was like the Komoku or the 3-4. But
Yeah, it's not popular nowadays.
that changed.
You still see the low approach, but it's not like urgent.
Mhm.
You don't play it before the corners unless you're looking for a fight.
Yeah, so there a lot of things change in the evolution of Go theory, I guess. Maybe like 200 years later, people will play on the first line, but I don't know about that.
Oh, the Twitch users like my voice. That's
oh
cool.
yeah, definitely. And oh, by the way, I just want to say thank you for being here. And yeah, just to express my gratitude once again. And starting from next week, we'll actually have a guest schedule. So if you want to be on my show, then you can possibly talk to me, and we'll see how it works out. And if the schedule fits both of us, then you or I will be on the same show. Because essentially I want this to be like a grassroots program. I say this because first of all, this show is targeted at like all of you guys, the fellow OGSers, and I don't like. I try to do stuff that is like easily understandable to most people, and I hope that it can be actually helpful, and so yeah. And if you enjoy the show, you can go subscribe on on my YouTube channel, and I also have a forum thread on OGS. And to those of you guys watching since the very first show, thank you so much. You like, I just can't express like how thankful I am in words. It's just really awesome that you guys are taking out your time and join the discussion. And as we go, please feel free to ask any questions by posting either in OGS chat and Twitch chat. Okay, so here we go.
Preferably both at once.
What?
Preferably both at once.
Yeah.
Not really.
That too. So if you see me like checking my phone, that's because my
You're getting a text from your girlfriend.
No.
No.
It's not right. I have a Twitch app installed on my phone. So yeah. So that's why I'm checking. I'm checking all the Twitch text. What you guys are posting. Oh, for Monarch for questions, is it better on Twitch or OGS? I think on OGS because that's where I'm looking.
Yeah, I agree.
At right now.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking. The Twitch feed has a little bit of a delay, and it's
Yeah. And we'll take pauses to address questions.
Questions make it better for everyone.
Yes, Friday's Q&A essentially. So, let's begin the party. Imaginary applause.
Woohoo!
And that too. Okay, so to start with, this is something I want to talk about. We actually covered this on last week's show, but I really want to like briefly recap this again, because unfortunately, like I said, I lost my broadcast. Twitch is twitching on me. So I do want to just rehash a little bit because this is very important. Because last week we were talking about a game between, I think, MK and another player. I couldn't remember. But we saw this opening being used. So basically, this opening used to happen a lot. Basically, you have two alternating komokus, and black plays that P17. That's the one space low enclosure. And normally, like nowadays, they actually we see a lot of this played more often, and we're talking about like this opening, and even though it looked alright, like it looked a lot like Black's Q3 stone was at Q4, and that would be like a classic orthodox opening, but as we concluded last week, this opening was not actually the optimized combination, and so just to recap, for example, I can play this pincer, this one space high pincer here, and what will happen is usually
that's not a pincer, that's an approach. It's only a pincer if you've got another stone on the other side.
Oh my, did I just say pincer? Oh my god. Okay.
The pincer here would be like black R7 or Q8.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Sometimes I mess up the words like pincer and kakari.
Oh, if I say black, then you can just pretty much assume I'm talking about white.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if white approaches here, usually what happens is this, and if you follow the Josei key, white extends on the side, and like we said last time, there's nothing wrong with this variation. First of all, black really does have a relatively solid upper right corner, and a decent bottom right corner. At the same time, he also has like future moves like the peep here, or in the future, something really annoying. And White will have to worry about what could happen there in the future. But what's really nice about this is after both sides have settled on the right side, Black can actually Tanuki and play somewhere else. For example, the side split, and that would this would be a really effective opening for Black now that he's got a lot of territory, and he could possibly build something on the left side in the future. So yeah, but there's one move we talked about like last time. It looked kind of weird, and to be honest, like most of the people would agree that it's not very conventional. It's kind of weird looking. It's maybe a little bit crazy, but we actually talked about this move here. So yeah.
Say what?
See what? Yeah.
It's a crazy move.
Crazy move. Exactly. What do you think, Mark?
It's good.
It's good.
I think it's helpful if you realize kind of the idea of what it's for. I think, there's no English equivalent, but what it is really an asking move.
Yeah.
It's a move that you play in order to see how your opponent responds. And then based on how your opponent responds, then you can decide your course of action. So in this case, you're not really sure, well, what's a good area of the board for White to play? White wants to play maybe on the right side, but we're not sure. Maybe P3 or O4 is better. Maybe Tanuki is better. So we play an asking move, and we'll say, well, Black, what do you value on this board? And if Black plays something like B, then you can say, oh, you're interested in the right side, and then you Q7, bam. And then you just start to destroy the right side because Black has told you, I want the right side. So as soon as he makes a move that starts to take the right side, then you take it first. That's the purpose.
Yeah. So in last week's show we listed like actually a couple of moves Black could play here. For example, like the extension at R17, a more conservative approach, or the extension on the outside, which is R15, as well as these two hunting options. So, I don't know. It really depends. So, what will be your preference?
For moves here?
Yeah.
Ask first. I mean, you don't just want to give away all the answers.
Well, but yeah, usually those are the four options you have. Yeah. Unless you want a Tanuki.
Black won't want a Tanuki here. It's pretty weird to Tanuki off a contact move. You have to have a good reason.
Yeah.
Otherwise, White can just choose to destroy your corner or your right side, and it's getting really big.
So yeah, we've listed a few options. Yeah, that's why
Basically all the options. Don't play anything else.
Yeah, just think of it as one of the questions on a bar exam, whether it be multiple choice or not. Do you actually have multiple choice questions?
We do. On Wednesday, I did 200 multiple choice questions. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
But yeah, so those are 4 options we have, and yeah. Well, I'm sorry if that gives you the feeling of doing yet another multiple choice question. But yeah, this one's like you can do it for fun. So let's actually look at the options one by one. For example, Black could play here, and that would seem like a pretty solid move, I guess. I'm gonna take the corner. I'm gonna defend it.
Passive though, and a little close together.
Yeah. So what will happen is usually, if we continue this Joseki right now, and by the way, this structure right here is actually one of the most common Josekis you would see when White approaches one space high, and if Black attaches this, you usually see a Joseki like this, white extends on the side, or this. So basically, black takes the corner, white takes the right side, and he may connect or do tag him out depending on the situation.
It's also important to know that you can tanuki at pretty much every move of this Joseki.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, you have to. I mean, here you have to play R4.
But yeah,
R4 is pretty important here. But after R4, then you can tanuki.
Yeah, and what happens like when tanuki is usually like if black plays here, then there isn't like a lot for white to worry if black actually cuts, because he can still set on the side, and in the future he can approach. Let's say he has a stone on K3 and N3 somewhere there, and if that's the case, then he could really do something with the Q5 stone, and meanwhile reducing black's influence there. So yeah, Mark's right. Is you can pretty much tanuki after, like, let's say. Well, you can also tanuki there, but the thing is, like, white might attach at P3, which you don't really want to happen, because
P3 would be the expected move. Black can keep the corner, but yeah, black is going to get pressed down big time, and you have to be okay with that when you tanuki.
Yeah, for example, like black plays here, something like this. In this way, white gets a decent outside influence. So, but yeah, I would still say, like, it's pretty fair for both, since black got a free move somewhere else. So there was that, and we're talking about lost myself. Oh, here we are. Okay, so black extends here. What happened is we follow the Joseki, and here comes the question for black. Would he actually play the extension at R13 or not? Because if he doesn't, then white can pretty much take the right side by playing Hane at A. And that's gonna look really decent for him, since he has the entire right side almost, and black has really small corners. But if black actually plays R13, I figured like P11 would be the intuitive natural move for white to play, and in the future we still have some hero situations here. For example, white can Hane A, and what could happen is so black play somewhere here. White might not play this like right now, but depending on the situation, he might actually just take half of this corner / side away, and that's gonna look really good for him. And hold on one second. Yep.
Nice.
This would be actually like the theme of 2014, that happy song.
Personally, I feel like tanuki isn't such a bad option for black. I mean, white can take the right side, but if black has some big moves on the board that white would respond to as well, like approaches on the 4/4 stones.
Yeah. So this would still be a fair game. And, well, most importantly, white's not going to play this right now. But even if he doesn't, let's say, it goes something like this. In the future, he still reserves that huge endgame move that black has to defend. And if he defends, is almost kind of it's almost kind of like reluctant for him because he already has like 4 stones in the corner. Now he has to spend another one to fully secure this corner / side territory, and that might feel a little bit uncomfortable for black. So this is why we say when white plays this probing move and leaves the opponent with possibilities, that's when it really kills, because imagination is a demon, man. And
That's pretty hardcore. Yikes.
imagination is a demon. Yeah, but or it could be you could be thinking of something really nice in this case for white, but that also means, on the other hand, something really bad for black. So that's the problem here. So if you can see why the move at A doesn't work perfectly for black, you can also kind of infer from that move there. So if black plays at R15, which is our second option, we basically have this sequence, and as you can see, white has settled pretty well on the right side. And in this case, you'd not be wanting to play the one space extension there, right? Because if you play there, then this is what?
No, that's not going to happen. It's too close.
It's too close, exactly. And white settles nicely on the side and even forms a rectangle of territory.
Yeah, nobody's going to do this because you got the whole left side that doesn't have any stones on it yet. And you're going to take the time right now to play this little one space extension. It's too small.
Yeah. So that's looking really good for white. I drew a smiley face. But yeah. This is gonna look really good for white at the same time. It's kind of ridiculous, like if you think about, like, black has responded to white's probing move at R15 now that he has a stone already at R13. Like he still needs one extra move in the future to fully secure this corner territory. So if he tanukis now, he's gonna leave white with options in the end game, and that could really matter, because for like nowadays, black really has that heavy burden of komi. Like now that it's like 6.5, 7.5 most of the time, and it's like territory wise is kind of a problem for him if you think about it, because he really doesn't want to spend that extra move there. But if he doesn't, then white's gonna, in the future, for example, after like settling, white's gonna somehow live in the corner. So there's that. Yeah, so that's why the second option didn't work. So Mark, you now have 2 options left.
Oh, the pressure.
Pressure.
Let's see. Well, there's really only one choice when you think about it, because S17 is just it's not working for me.
Too conservative?
Yeah, it's like turtle.
Yeah,
turtle.
In a sense. Like you have a strong enclosure, and you're basically kind of saying like, okay, you're good. I compromised, but yeah, like first of all, you can kind of see from Mark's comments that it's, you know, like even emotionally, it's not best to play there, and it would just follow this sequence here. That's the same problem, almost, and in the future, white, for example, white can play at S15 to rescue that stone and getting quite a decent amount of territory on the side.
But there's Aji, and that's the big problem. If you're gonna turtle, you better play R17 or R15, because
yeah,
then if you on this board right here, you've got cutting stuff, and there's this nasty clamp at Q16 that could really be thorny if black allows it to happen. So black's going to want another move, and then white just played a probe that made black play 2 moves. You know, that's already a high rate of efficiency for white, so it's no good.
So yeah, well, we only have one option left then, which is this Hane at S15, and this looks right. This looks like right, in a sense. Like it's the best resisting move black can play here. So if we look at this sequence, white is definitely gonna crosscut, because why not? And actually, one of the Joseph keys is to play here. So black basically tries to force white to extend on the side. And meanwhile, he's got like a decent corner territory. But at the same time, if he plays here, then white's gonna connect, and if you can't afford to be beaten up in the lower right corner, then you have to jump out, and then white can just easily set on the side. So if we look at this variation here, then what we can see is white has decent influence slash thickness on the right side, and he has stolen quite a bit of black's territory on the right side. And in the future, it's hard to imagine that like black would even be nearing this wall right here because it's so strong. So that's, even though that is not bad for black per se, I would still say this is very comfortable for white. But now we have, what we have here is kind of bizarre, but black actually has a very strong move here that could go wrong for white if he doesn't play properly. Okay, so what about this? So this is a side attacking move, first of all. It's kind of like a clamp, and this seems curious.
No, that's a fighting move.
That's a fighting move, yeah. So what will you do?
Oh, well, you're looking for the Joseki move? Or there's a lot of places that white can go. I think the most common move here might actually be a bump at R11. I've seen that in the pro game.
Oh, yeah? Exactly. So, he's right on point.
It's pretty hard to find, though, if you've never seen it before.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the first move that would come to mind is the bend at S12, and then black can just settle his upper right corner. And pretty much, this is going to look really difficult for white because his groups are split. And
yeah, now it's going to be a running battle with the black group.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd rather have something that's more solid, I think.
Yeah.
I think the key to understanding the bump is to realize that what black is pretty much going to play R17 next no matter what white does. So if black does that and ignores white, then white can just cover it with Q10.
Right, exactly.
And then that shape would be a lot better looking for white.
Yeah, because like the thing is, white is now presenting black with like 2 options. Either to play there or extend. And here's a dilemma, because if black actually just follows the bump and extends there, then white is going to use part of the agi in the corner, and if white plays that, then something really tragic could happen here. In fact, that's actually really murderous and not nice for white, but it's the game of Go. So, yeah. Here we go. Yep. So, if
Go, murdering and tragedy.
So yeah, so if this happens, black actually has 3 death stones on the side, and that would be really not looking good for him. And so he has to play there. he has to extend. And this happens White can just Hane, and Black's attacking was pretty much captured. And this is still looking very decent for White. So, and he doesn't have to worry about this movie in particular, because even if it goes like that, first of all, he gets Sente. Second of so he can play something like there. Second of all, if he has like stones on the bottom side, then he can do something to reduce Black's influence, even though it seems that Black has actually a strong wall on the side. Yeah. So okay, that's pretty much what we covered for last week's show in terms of opening theory, and
So xhu98, what do you think would be your choice on the response to the probe? Do you still think with this kind of result that S15 is any good?
well, I was like, after this move, it's still very playable for both. So we'll have.
I like White. I like White a lot.
So what
I
happened?
think most pros like White too.
Yeah, this is very decent for White on the right side. So what I would say will happen is Black would split on the side, probably, and play something like this, and it's complicated. I've actually seen one of the games between I think it's actually one of the Lee Chung-ho games versus Cho Kun-hun, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they actually play like this, and it was a really complicated battle. But yeah, generally speaking, White has a very comfortable right side, and that would really be there as an advantage for him, because he's got a 5-stone wall, and if the running battle approaches the right side, White would be a little bit more advantageous, I would say. And plus, he has 40 settled on the right side, so there's not much agi Black can do, except like maybe the clam at R7, but that's not like a primary concern right now. So yeah. So anyways, but so here's the question: why, if that move, the one space low enclosure does not work out, why do we have this move here? Wouldn't that be the same thing? Because, but the reason is that when we have a 2 space low enclosure, when White plays this again, Black can actually just turtle a bit, but when he plays that, then this is actually way more efficient.
Oh yeah, Black looks awesome.
Yeah, Black looks very awesome, because compared to what we had before, Black's stone was at here. Now, he has one extra. He like.
We don't even have to talk about it so much. It's plain that Black's stone at 017 is better placed than at P17. Yeah. I mean, if Black had to choose where to play right now, you're sort of reversing the move order. Black would certainly choose to play further away if he could.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true in a sense. So if we let me just label the numbers. Okay, so what would be? Yeah, so for example, if we relabel the move, so now it's Black's turn. And what Mark is saying that is if you manipulate the order of the moves to a certain extent where you can see clearly and compare the differences between sequences. Here's one quick way to see that Black's 017 is clearly better than P17 because it's wider, it's more efficient, it provides a better structure, it allows more possibilities on the top side. For example, if black approaches at f17. So yeah, this is why this the two space low enclosure would work out better for white for black.
Does everybody know how to do that order flipping analysis? Because I feel
Yeah.
it's really important. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like an important stride to reach dawn level, because when you flip the order of moves in your mind, then you can use that order flipping as a test to determine if your moves are good moves or bad moves.
Yeah.
There's a quick way to do it is if you look at a sequence and you don't know if it's good or bad. In general, you can think about removing one of the stones. And if you would play there again, then chances are that stone is well placed.
Yeah. So, in this case, what we just did was we changed the order of the moves to like a simpler way of seeing the situation. For example, you'd have this Komoku, and white somehow splits on the side, or then white probes there, black extends, fair enough, white jumps out. So now is black's turn to kind of try to expand his top right framework so that it's looking more of a potentially huge block of territory. So if you think about it that way, like what's the possibility you would choose to play the one space?
About 0.
Extension, right? About 0, exactly. So and what's the possibility you play that? Well, that's more possible, but at the same time, like you have to remember when you manipulate the order of the moves and reorder them, you have to think about like what's actually in the game, because we don't see a lot of this 3 space low enclosure, because even though this actually works in our...
It's kind of like a micro Chinese formation.
Micro, yeah. Because normally a Chinese opening would have like a stone at A or B, and with a stone at C, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is like micro Chinese, and it just leaves possibilities. Like white can, for example, choose to take the outside. That's decent.
Well, it's really a half-hearted move, right? Because if you're going to play an enclosure, what you're really after is protecting the corner territory and getting cash now.
Yeah.
If you play mini Chinese, what you're really looking for is a large extension taking a wide swath of the board at once. But this move is wishy-washy. It's not solid. It's not keeping the corner. It's not taking a good position in the center where you have one more move and you can take the entire portion of the board. It's just kind of don't know what it's doing there. Maybe that's why the pros don't play it.
Yeah. So
it looks kind of playable though.
We don't see a lot of these days. Because I don't know. It leaves possibilities. Like, but with the 2 space low enclosure.
Nano Chinese.
What?
M. Lopez says Nano Chinese.
Nano Chinese. Yeah. Well, with this, you still leave the possibility of like living here, but how possible is that, right? Like even let's say white lives in the corner, what he will leave behind is this tremendous black wall, that is awesome that I don't have any words for it, or in fact I don't have words for it, because this doesn't happen a lot. But yeah, even though this is a possibility, we don't see a lot of that, because this, like I said, the 2 space enclosure is somewhere in the middle. Is between P17 and 17, somewhere in the middle. It has the advantage of both approaching moves if you think about it that way. So, this is why when we change the order of the moves, we can kind of see clearly which move is better, but we also have to look at like the original game and compare and analyze. So that's an example of doing it, I guess. So yeah, so that's pretty much what we covered like in last week's show. I just want to kind of teach it again, and because this is very important, like the approach, even though you might not eventually end up like playing this Fuseki sequence, it does apply to like other games, I guess. You try to maximize your profit, but try to play somewhere in the middle, I guess. That's no overplays, no turtle moves. That's what basically Ghost Sagan's spirit suggests. And by the way, he's a great guy. Okay, so before we move on, are there any questions regarding this opening? And let me actually just check the chat.
Well, don't check the chat.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Bet you in the chat. No, I think the key here is if you like to play the orthodox opening, and if you like taking dual 3/4 points, maybe try out the large knight enclosure. It's interesting, and it's actually more popular with the pros nowadays, for the reasons we talked about. So give it a go if that's the sort of game you like to play.
Yep. And with Mark, you always know it's the right choice.
Oh, Francis says he's tired of being on your Twitch screen.
Oh, what?
Because this gets the message box on your video feed.
What is that?
Oh, I don't know. It's below the chat
okay.
box.
Okay. He sent me a message. But yeah. So no questions. You can check my private message, by the way. Okay. That's yeah. I'll do that later. But
no, it's on your computer screen, below the game tree and below the chat. I mean, you've got the box.
Yeah, I just closed it. Ah! Oh, okay. Wonder, but yeah, yeah. But I'll reply to the private messages later. Yeah. Okay, so that's what we talked about like last week, and this week we have a new game.
Oh, we have a question in the Twitch chat. What kind of things should white be looking for to take advantage of black playing 2-space enclosure as opposed to 1 space?
2-space enclosures too. So, like, what kind of things should we look for, like, in here?
Yeah, if black plays this way, then what's white's course of action?
Well, I would say,
well, white's going to play normally, but he's not going to probe.
He's not going to probe. But what I would say is
you can still play Q5 and other approaches.
Yeah, and it looks something like this, and this is a really good, decent opening for black. Even though there's a little bit of agi on the top side, I would say. However, black's structure in the upper right corner is really efficient and kind of fast in a way. And if this happens, then we can go back to our previous discussion of what could happen next. And, wait, it does this. Why can I do something like that? But, this is still going to be a long game. In fact, a quite territorial one. But, if we look at the situation here, black has at least, like, if we compare, like, the amount of territory. So I would say black has 10 points, at least, here, and he may have like let's say 15 and 20. Because
Okay, but you should also keep in mind that's not solid points yet.
Because
he's got the large enclosure, it's going to be easier for white to play a move inside later and take the points.
Yeah, but like even I would say even if he actually invades, I would say there's still like 10 to 15 in black defense like partially. So so this is potentially 15 and 20. Okay, so this might be like something like 10. Now if we look at white, white has like about 10 points here. And maybe 10 points there as well. Like because if black he can expand that, but it would take an extra move. Which is a non-urgent move, so I would say that's 10 12. And this is actually this side has a lot more uncertainty. So I would call that possibly 10. So if you look at it this way, then it's kind of clear that black has, I would say, like a slight lead, and meanwhile,
Really?
if you look, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I think I favor white, just personally. I don't think you're being fair to white's top left corner. 10 is pretty measly. If black gets his natural approach to f17, for instance, white can just close off the corner or pincer the stone and get more than 10 points out of it.
With the top right, the top left.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd actually say this is about even. You know.
Oh, I just erased it. Damn it! I just clicked on the wrong button. But yeah.
No. If you refresh, maybe it'll show up again.
Yeah, but in the future, a lot of things could happen. But this is still gonna be a pretty long game. For example, both sides taking huge moves on board. But basically, what black is looking for is that flow, the flow in this opening. Like he has clear, structured, nicely built groups, and I was trying to stay on top of the territorial battle, and because he really has no weak groups per se, it's really easy for him to take those big moves on board without really worrying about like being attacked later. So that's what I would say. And in the future, black also has some annoying moves like something like there, and that would be a more complicated sequence. But white still has something to worry about in the future on the right side. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Well, we sure talked about it.
What?
Well, we sure about it.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
It's not important.
Okay. Alright. More questions.
People are getting the sound from the Twitch side.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a respond because there's like a 30-second delay.
Yeah. And Venstoka said, so it's okay for white to jump into black's corner later after white has established something safe on the right. So should he leave the edge for later? That's a very good question actually. There is definitely agi in this variation we have. Like white has potentially something to do in the upper right corner. But if he does it right now, the chances are he's not going to end up in Sente, and black might use that chance to actually take over the larger moves in the future. So even though white, like even after white is established on the right side and established everywhere else, you really want to just leave the possibility for later. But it's because it's kind of a pain for your opponent if both of you know that there's gonna be something happening in that corner, and that's the beauty of leaving the agi, because if you fix the agi, then you need to spend an extra move, and you'll end up from Sente to Gyote. But if you don't, there's that, unexpected bomb, which could be dropped anytime. So yeah. So I would say save that for later, and this is actually a very important aspect in like improving from a Q player to a dumb player, because after your reading level goes up, many of the times you can see what's actually possible inside the group, but if you play that like right away, chances are you might actually end up like not benefiting optimally from it, and your opponent could use that chance to gain Sente and take the initiative. So I figured that's really important, actually. So does that answer your question? And I understand there's a little bit of lag. Mark, you're still there?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, because I thought there was like a noise gate thing, like it just muted automatically. But yeah. So that's a lot said. On this opening in particular, we do have a game today to review. It's between Darsey 11Q and Tarot 12Q, and both of them very good participants of the Nova League. Yeah, so we got a very interesting game to review here. And feel free to add stuff as I go. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. There's a bit of a lag, but in general should be okay. Refreshing will work greatly. Yeah. So there's that. Okay, so I was showing you this game, Mark, and you said you were very interested in seeing this Sensei opening. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think are the key things one should be looking for when he or she plays the Sensei opening?
What white should be looking for?
Yeah.
Oh.
What black should be looking for, I guess.
Oh well, black is wearing his ideas on his shoulder. Really, he wants influence. He's on the fourth line only, which means he's not interested in territory now. He's interested in fighting later, which is fun. It makes for an exciting game. But usually that means that white will start invading later, and then black has to be prepared to deal with that. Black has to have a willingness to make territory in the middle game instead of making territory right away. So if you can put off, your immediate impulses to grab territory, then it can actually be a very effective opening.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Essentially, what you're really looking for when you're playing the Sensei opening is, because all your stones are on the fourth line, you don't really have that many forces on the third line. It's gonna be quite easy for your opponent to invade the corner. But
yeah, you can play pretty much any invasion point on that side of the board, and you probably live with it.
So, for example, one of the most common approaches to this opening is the one space low, Uh, and this is comics play Joseki.
Yeah, this is actually still a pro game.
Mm-hmm. And why might actually play take yet another corner?
It's possible.
Mm-hmm. So as you can see, what this is a really clear diagram of what's going on right now, because White has basically taken 2 corners in Sente, and
White has all 4 corners right now.
Yeah, and they're possibly they're possibly agi on Black's on Black's wall in the future.
Yeah, but you know what they say, right? That's if your opponent gets all 4 corners, then you'll probably win the game, because that means that you've gotten so much influence that it's overwhelming.
Yeah, that's a Chinese proverb, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not Chinese. Probably.
Yeah. A Chinese proverb says the Wi-Fi in this room ought to be better.
Yeah, personally, I feel black is kind of an advantage, but it's also an easy advantage to lose compared to others. So if you're not good at life and death, then White's going to invade for sure, and you're going to have a hard time to handle it.
So, for example, a lot of this was actually what I played when I was younger. People tend to invade, and there could be some tricky stuff going on. So yeah, when you play the San Jose opening, you have to be aware of the fact that your opponent is probably going to invade to some certain extent. So you need to be very prepared in terms of fighting. And I know I used to like this because my games are pretty much fighting all the time, fight for life. But yeah, it's kind of difficult to handle for some players, because if your style is more territorial, then I would say San Jose is probably not the best choice for you. But it's definitely one interesting opening to try out.
If your style is territorial, then San Jose would be a terrible choice.
It would be a terrible choice, actually.
Unless you're trying to branch out, then it would be good.
Mm-hmm.
But this attachment at D14 is you also see it sometimes. Not so much in pro games, but it's Joseki.
Joseki? I haven't seen that in a lot of pro games, to be honest, actually.
No, it's not very common. You see it in other situations, but...
So...
You see it a lot online.
Yeah.
I think it's popular online, but not in pro circuit. I don't really know why, actually. It looks similar.
Possibly because, I don't know, Black thinks maybe he's giving White too much on the left side? I don't know. I mean, it's almost like Black already has that stone there, and in this case, it might look a little bit redundant. It might be better somewhere at L17 or L16, I would say, but it's kind of the K16 stone is too close to F16, and in the meantime, White really gets a nice structure on the left side. So that's why I would say possibly, I don't know, but pros don't tend to not favor this Joseki, but nevertheless, it's Joseki.
Yeah, it's hard to complain about it. I mean, if you play that, I still say you it's a down level move, maybe high down level. Just amateur down.
Okay, so I found this movie very interesting, actually.
Is it a good interesting?
Well, probably more on the negative side, because even though this is this is trying to essentially reinforce the top side. First of all, what really catches my eye is White might pawn it here. So, for example, if Black wedges now, then white could essentially like take this black stone, and even though it seems like black has got a ton of territory slash influence on the top side, he actually has a lot of stones on the fourth line, and first, like, well, on one hand it doesn't prevent like third line invasion. On the other hand, it's not too efficient if you think about it, because he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stones on the fourth line, and he's only controlling like the top side to the third or maybe the fourth line. But if we compare that with white's corner, then that's a decent amount of territory.
Yeah, black just looks bad here because with Sanransei, his main purpose was to build a big area with lots of influence, but white's poking his head out in front at Q13, and is black gonna defend it now with like P13, but he's not gonna do that because then he'll just be pushing white into his R12 stone, and white's gonna take. It looks like it's a big amount of territory that you'd be forcing white to take. I'd say maybe it's too big.
Yeah, that's actually really putting a bet on the top Moyo, by the way, because if we look at the situation right now, even though black has got control over, I would say maybe like this area, and that's like the half of the board, right? So he's still got a lot of work to do there. And that means he really has to do something significant on the bottom side.
Right.
So I would say like this. I would say this is a decent Moyo, but not like overwhelmingly good to win the game just yet.
Yeah, and white can still invade it. That's important. With some kind of attachment or H17 or whatever white desires.
Yeah.
It could get nasty for black. But I think the point is that the weakness there that black gave, it took too many moves to keep the influence up, and it gave white too much in reply. So when you build influence, it's important that you've got to make sure that while you're building the influence, that your opponent isn't gaining too much territory as payment. Because then you just might have a difficult game on your hands, because all of white's cash is solid and yours isn't. So it's one-sided, It's even now, but only you have the possibility to go wrong.
Right. Because like as we saw like in the game, N16 was kind of like an extra move. So I would actually suggest that maybe like black would disconnect there, and if white lives in the corner, then black still gets a decent amount of influence. Except this time, his actual area of control is more like that. So this is like first of all the R12 stone is saved. Second of all, black has spent like one fewer redundant move on the top side, so that this structure is still highly efficient, and if he gets to Hane at F13 in the future, his Moyo will be just rapidly increasing. So yeah, that's one of the interesting points that we saw early in the game, and
Right, so at this point, white looks a little better because of the upper right corner stuff.
Yeah, and now white has at least like I would say 10 points in the corner, right?
Yeah, roughly. Could be, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, about 10.
And plus, he has that cut point at P14 in the future. So, yeah. there he gets a decent corner, and black still has agi. Even though he does seem to have a wall, like it's not rock solid. For example, if he plays, might be looking for moves like that. I mean, it's not like a move in perfect shape, but
if you do what you have to do.
Is a decent amount of cash. Like, if black's 3 stones there get captured, then he would really have to do well on the top side to compensate for that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this weakness is pretty annoying for white.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, black can cut 015 at any time, and I'd be a little worried if I was to play this way myself.
015. Wait, or 05?
Or for black. Oh, yeah, 05, sorry.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, this is kind of annoying actually, because white has a lot of cut points and black can just pick one to play essentially, like, because his corner is already alive and safe and sound, and if he just picks on one of the cut points, then it's gonna be a mildly annoying situation for white, because he has 2 groups to handle, and even though this is a running battle that looks fair for both, I'll still say this is better for black, as he has strong influence on the top side.
Right. I was thinking 04 might be just a little greedy, because it extends and leaves the weakness that black could push through. And maybe white should play black's move there at p4 and just be solid.
Yeah. I would actually favor that a lot.
Oh, this works too.
Well, I can't understand why white played an R7, because he's worried about like the.
Oh yeah, it's too flat, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, white should be playing on the 4th line instead of the 3rd.
Right. So I mean, if white is going to defend that invasion at R8, I would suggest Q7, because there's a combination of stones on the 4th line and on the 3rd line.
Hmm.
So if
does white have the ladder with p14?
Does white have the actually, does he? Yeah, and he has the ladder. The ladder is good for white.
So maybe white can think about cutting here.
Well, like before this?
Well, before you enclose. Yeah, like right here for move 30.
Or yeah, that could be an option. And the important thing is to kind of lead the agi there. And more agi, more pain.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're making black sweat just a little, losing those 3 stones on the right side.
Yeah. And that sounds like a good plan, because after this move here, black faces a choice of either giving up, or maybe not giving up, but like risking those 3 stones on the right side, or letting white play this p3, which is really tremendous. So I'm thinking about this move here.
Mm-hmm.
And that,
yeah, I think this could be good for white.
And that, as you can see, is a very decent structure for white, because he has a very stretched swing that is well spaced.
Look at that smirk. That is cute.
I'll try to make it look less creepy. Oh, maybe I should draw the teeth as well.
Ha!
You didn't see that coming, did you?
Can't say I did. Nope.
Yeah, but the general strategy here is to poke at the weakness and leave the agi for future, and that's a really effective strategy because even if black fixes that agi, you don't lose anything. You don't lose much because even if you don't have.
It's similar to the previous example with the opening, and we had the probe.
Yeah.
It's a kind of, you're putting something there to make black really want to spend 2 moves there in the future. It's a good efficiency trade.
Yeah, and just to mention, if black tries to play the ladder here, I don't think that will work.
Yeah, it's very important that white has the stone at d4.
Yeah, and it just works out all right. Yeah. So, as you can see.
Yeah, maybe p14 is a bit hard to find unless you're like a single-digit Q player.
Yeah, but in general, like okay.
But you can find it by just thinking about what white can attack here, and seeing if you try to see if the obvious cut works, and then you check the ladder first. And if you can find where the cut is and check the ladder, then you're probably well on your way to single-digit Q, unless you're already there.
Yeah, and even if you are, even if you can't see the pro move, I think it's still like decent to think about like something in terms of that.
That's still a very good move.
In terms of spatial efficiency, and
could white play a kind of Chinese opening here?
Oh, something like hold on, something like this. Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Wrong way? You mean
the
L4?
Oops.
Or L3?
Oh, yeah. I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, this is the right way for Chinese.
Yeah. You move away from the start point.
Yeah, it's kind of strange because black was the one who opened for the influence, but now with E13 and R10 and this Chinese thing, it looks like white's got the influence, which is an interesting reversal.
Yeah. And and this move, by the way, is also playable as a variant of the mini, not the mini Chinese, but the Chinese.
I've heard this term's the runty Chinese.
What's the runty Chinese?
Well, this one with the stone at low at M3. You say it's like the runt of the low Chinese. It's lower than the low, so it's runty.
Lower than the low. Yeah, that makes kind of sense. Or
Maybe that was just in my circle, but I've heard it called that before.
Yeah. But anyways, the general idea is, white has this very nice, spread out structure that is highly efficient, and notice that it doesn't take him a lot of moves to control the entire bottom side. Or maybe not the entire bottom side, but if in case black invades, white can always come back and defend at least the bottom right corner, which is also very decent. So this is what we call a highly efficient opening. And if you think about it, there are moves on the third line, there are moves on the fourth line, and each stone has its own duty in building this kind of ideal framework. So
I actually really like the runty Chinese there. M3 looks good.
You know what happened when I was trying to like figure out the Chinese follow up move? I tilted my head to the right. I should have tilted my head to the left. Because I'm accustomed to like the star points don't be on top of the Komoku.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like easier for me to just like personally like see it. Okay, I can just play all three. But I tilted my head to the right, so I saw like the Komoku still was on top. I was like, what? This is not Chinese. But anyways.
That's not any Chinese I've seen before.
Yeah.
Not that it's bad. Maybe it's good, but you know, you're inviting black to come into the lower right corner, and it's too wide.
Wider space.
And it, you know, the lower left is still invadable, so it's the same kind of wishy-washy move we saw before.
Yeah. Well, that's a shame. I'm Chinese and I can't even handle this Chinese opening. Yeah, but a lot of things I actually can't handle.
I think my personal preference would be to play a Chinese opening here instead of the enclosure.
Yeah.
I don't like enclosures.
It's kind of passive.
Yeah, it feels slow to me, but maybe it's irrational, but it's just not the way I like to play. I like to.
Or some players might play that actually.
Yeah, I could play that. I just don't like making moves that are close to my other stones when there's large parts of the board open.
The nano Chinese. Oh, hey, we've learned. We've just invented a new term today. The nano Chinese.
Somebody inform the professionals.
Yeah, I'm Lopez. Go tell. I don't know. Any professionals you know. That's called the nano Chinese.
Well, this is the large knight. The nano Chinese would be N3.
Well,
I think because you want to have that 3 space.
3 space.
Yeah, it's got to be one more.
Oh, okay.
You have the small enclosure, the large enclosure, and then N3.
Then what do we call the big knight? Do we call it the Pico Chinese?
This would be nano Chinese.
This would be nano Chinese. Yeah. And that would be. What would this be then?
Large knight.
That would be a large knight. Yeah. It's going down exponentially. Yep. So.
Or just a large enclosure. Either one.
Yeah. And the small knight enclosure is not meant to be Chinese.
No. No, so black approaches, and that's the natural way.
Yeah.
It's surprised he decided to approach low, because he's been going for influence for the whole game until now.
Yeah. And I thought, like, I don't know, why could it play somewhere like that? To restrict his control. Like in terms of
maybe
influence.
that's where black should have played.
Yeah.
Like there or 03.
Oh, like 04?
Yeah, black should play one further away, I think.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Kobayashi. Because white's already got a stone at Q10 and another at R7. So I think I'd want to respect that.
Yeah. I actually think 04 is very decent here. It's not too close to white's right side. Like if you play this, I think there comes the fear of being pincered. But if you play there, then it's not too hard for black to make life in the corner. And this resonates with black's strategy of like always keeping these stones high and looking for influence. Oh, actually? Okay. Franzisa just sent me. Oh, look at that. Yo, check out the link in the OGS chat. Oh my god. That was great, man. He drew a lion.
Where? It's going to appear on the video feed.
Oh, what?
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
it's an
can't see the
ODS
line of
chat.
it.
It's an ODS chat. You just drew a lion.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yep.
Nice. But I mean, considering the move 31, I think that, black
uh,
has pretty much has four approach options for the lower right corner, and I think the
mhm.
one played in the game is probably the worst one, as far as conceptually for black.
Yeah, theoretically, this is kind of this is too close to White's group and is on the third line. And yeah, I was really worried about like the shoulder hit.
Right. White could also pincer and have a good
Yeah.
result with pincer because that when black approaches
So
too
what would you
close to
say?
yeah.
Like that
Yeah, possibly. Maybe low,
maybe
like
low.
M3 or L3.
Yeah,
Those are
that's
popular nowadays, right?
hmm that's also decent.
Yeah, then white is making a lot on the left and lower side. And black
Hmm
still, he's a bit uncomfortable. He has to run out.
He has to either run out
Could
or
dive
try
into the
to
corner, but that's going to give white what he wants, I think.
yeah because the corner. Well, first of all, the corner line is going to be small, and on the other hand, if he runs out, then White is already pretty much settled on the right side. So
Yeah.
it's
But this
only
is the move that played in the game, which is interesting.
yeah, and it seems
Hey,
that
I'm a Q player. Look at me, I can play 12K moves.
hey, and it looks like Black really got a decent outcome out of it. He lived in Sente, and that was a decent corner. And in the future, he can think about like maybe peeping at Q6 or I don't know, O5, something like that. So yeah, and he's getting aggressive.
Hmm.
Actually, I'm not sure. What would you respond as if you were White?
Here?
Yeah. So what would you do if Black just keeps um, creating that chaos by throwing more stones?
Well, this is all Joseki, right? So I think I'll just follow Joseki here. Um, I'm not sure that white needs to respond to it because the left side black group looks pretty weak to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think my first reaction would be to just Tanuki and clamp at C11, I guess. Try to rip apart the center group that black had going on. That'd be my first reaction.
Well, if that happens, Black is going to maybe take the corner.
Yeah, and then you start responding. And then
Yeah.
you can just kind of assume that the black left group is kind of ruined. Alternatively, white can play the moves in the game, and I think that's
Yeah.
fine too. I think they're both good ideas.
Yeah. And I feel like I don't know if that's the right move for Black actually. But the general Yosuke after Waisane is to target there first, thus creating the cut point at E3. So White has to defend that. So when he fixes outside, Black can actually live there. Well, I thought this almost like I don't know. Not I would say like too bad for Black. Actually, even if even though the two black stones on the left side are actually in danger. Partially because first of all, I think that is redundant. In a sense. And second, Black still has that element of hope, even the slightest hope on the left side. So it's not going to be captured like right away. I would say it's still difficult for White.
Apparently, there's been sound issues again.
Oh, actually?
There's a echo or a double sound.
That's strange.
Yeah, I wonder what caused it.
I don't know what caused it though. Like because it was working pretty properly last week.
Did you do the Twitch feed last week?
Yeah, I was using Twitch.
Okay. It was the first time, right? Because you've been using the OGS system before then?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And this is my second time. But if you guys are hearing echoes out there, I don't know, maybe refreshing would be a good option to retest. And I'm sorry if that has caused any inconvenience because it's still one of my first few times using Twitch, and there will be a learning curve. But hopefully this issue will go well itself. And actually, let me just check my OBS settings if that's correct, because I'm... Okay, so before we move on, we still have about, like, let's say 20 minutes. Are there any questions I haven't addressed? Is there anything interesting in the game you would like to see?
We had a question about 5-4 points earlier. It was we used to the idea was that we used to play 5-4 points sometimes, and now we don't see them very much. You know, did the idea of 5-4 die out?
Well, I wouldn't say it died out, but I think the reason it's not too commonly played among players is that it's very difficult to control. And like 4-5 in general, and 3-5. It does require a certain amount of handling the entire situation because there's clearly a bias in the placement of the stone.
Yeah, definitely.
So, for example, if you're playing 3-5, then you're giving your opponent two options. First to invade that corner, and then second to...
So this devolves into Joseki.
Or that, right? I've seen that. So, yeah.
Yeah, both of those are popular.
It does give your opponent options. So,
when you play 5-4, white only has 1 or 2 options, and the most typical one with R16 tends to look like if you approached low as black and then white Tanuki.
Yeah. Or
then you have the same situation. You know, black will typically play Q14 or attach at R17. I think those are the most common, right?
Yeah. It's almost like
yeah, and then white plays R13, I guess, to be safe.
Yeah,
White's not going to play S15. It's too slow nowadays.
Or maybe R13, right?
Yeah, R13 is the new Joseki move. The old Joseki was S15, but the pro stopped playing it because it's got weaknesses and it's slow.
Yeah, this almost looks like white has a Komoku stone and black approached white Tanuki, and this is what will happen. And well, white goes play that, right? R17.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Oh, actually, this is very interesting. I haven't looked into it.
No, these are all good, but we don't see them because the pros avoid them. I think the reason is that the pro players, they favor territory, and
quick cash.
They want cash now, so they don't want to play points on the 5th line in the opening. When they do, they usually want maximum flexibility, so they'd rather use the 4-4 point than the 5-4 point.
Yeah, because nowadays, like, I don't know, like, modern Go is very fast paced. You do want to get the best out of every single move and optimize that efficiency and get the maximum territory out of an opening, right?
Exactly.
Well, and because a lot of it actually has the system kind of has something to do with it. This is just my guess, because Monaco is faster. It's more like competitive. You have to optimize your move to earn your salary, and people like fighting more, and stuff like that. So we're probably not going to see a lot of good old games, like which people just used to experiment new openings. So yeah.
I think I saw a game with. Actually, it's one of xhu98's favorite openings. Who's the top player in China right now? He opens with 5-4 sometimes.
Yeah.
And those games can be very active and interesting. Personally, I think it's just pros like to play familiar openings more than they like to explore novel ones.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's the reason, because it looks good to me.
Or if you're like Darsey, you can just play like 4-6.
True.
That's the style.
Yeah, counter unusual with unusual, and then just make a really wacky game that can win you over fans if you're in the professional Go scene.
Yeah.
I know for a while there were players like Yamashito Keigo, 9P, who is a wonderful Japanese player who loves unorthodox openings. And he's got a very free style that really wins over a lot of people. Because one of the bigger complaints that you have when you're newer and you don't understand the game very much is that all the openings look the same.
Yeah.
But when you find a player who's got a unique style right from the start, then it's really attractive, because you think, oh, maybe I can be unique too.
Yeah, but that was like when Takemiya first had his sensei style, a lot of people liked it, right?
Oh yeah, it's very popular. Still very popular.
It's still very popular, exactly. And it's actually very popular on OGS too. Probably one of the top few, one of the most played openings actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised, because whenever I see a Don player and they're black, when they play 4-4, I'm thinking they're going to go for Chinese or mini Chinese, or they're going to go for an orthodox opening or something. But they take dual star points very often, and it surprised me at first.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good. I can't say anything bad about the opening. Maybe it's even best.
Yeah, and there's actually been a talk about why people feel like star points are kind of the reasonable move, because it's somewhere in the middle. Let's say moves in the middle make people feel good, because they kind of combine the advantages of moves on the side or the center, something like that. Because if you play a 3-3, then this is definitely more actually hold on. Yeah. So if you play a 3-3, it's definitely absolutely territorial. And if you play a 5-5, then that's overtly favoring the influence. And when you play at Komoku or maybe 3-5 or 4-5, there's that positional bias in a sense. But if you play at Star Point, you kind of it's kind of moving in the middle. So it does give you a lot of options. So I don't know. It's just an interesting point that someone brought up. That is probably the reason why people are compelled to play star points. But yeah, this is a very good question actually, and let's see what happened in the game. I'm afraid we're running out of time.
Tanuvial's leaving. Bye, Tanuvial. Thanks for
Oh, have a
stopping
good
by.
night, Julio. Yeah. And let's see what we want to look at here. So so later in the game, there are a lot of co-fights in the sense, mid-level players, and a lot of the cases in this game, white actually allow black to take the stone, which I thought would be like way better if you connected there, because it's just a better display of thickness and influence. If you think about it that way. And this will be a very solid wall, and it'll take some effort for black to counter. And same with the
I
move.
think take white and smooth is okay.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't bad. Well, this one was maybe like a more obvious example because when you connect there, first of all, you offer a lot more thickness on the right on the
Yeah. Yeah, white should have played this move here.
And I don't think black is locally alive here actually.
That's a bulky 5 shape in the corner.
That's a bulky 5 point, yeah.
Yeah, that's not alive.
So yeah. And this is gonna look really ominous for him, because he has a group that's not alive yet, and if white takes advantage of attacking that group, then what you realize is, like, even if this group actually ends up living, it'll be really easy for white to expand quickly on the left. Because first of all, the two black stones are surrounded by so many white stones that it's kind of almost impossible for them to escape. And second, white does have this huge block of territory created just by attacking that weak group. And in the meantime, this move at G13, it invites a future invasion at H16. What things.
And black can't play F6 right away because there's cutting stuff with the G6 drop.
Yeah. So what happened here is actually. Yeah, so if black plays here, then white can play there. And even though he can kind of live this way, it's kind of damaging, because it's like you're basically helping white build his territory, and white is like ultra thick right now. And if you spend an extra move, then what happens is like white might invade.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
No, it's no good for black. Black can't play this way.
Yeah.
Black should play Joseki back when he invades the corner.
Yeah, like we
I think that's the biggest part. You shouldn't invade unless you know how it's gonna go.
Right.
Because otherwise you might just die.
So like more like that.
Yeah. 9 can be a B4 too. Both of them are equal. But that's the Joseki pattern.
That's true. So yeah, this move there was more okay, I guess. It ended up quite nicely for white. And there was really significant reduction.
Yeah, white tried to cut there, but it wasn't too successful.
Didn't work. See, like black has to sort of defend that agi because white had cut, and it's possible that there might be some there might be some things white can do in the future.
Yeah, and now white has Sente, and because of his big area on the left side, I think that he's doing better in this game right now.
Yeah. But what I also think is part of the reason that drove black to N12 is he really wanted that. Really wanted this block of territory here. But actually, one of the more important things, when you have a neutral macro game, when both of you are trying to add things up and building your frameworks, what you really want to do is to find that sort of like vital point. So instead of actually like deliberately closing in, what you're trying to do is expand your own territory, but meanwhile also putting some pressure on your opponent.
Mm. Yeah, that's rarely a bad idea. I like the move one a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a very good move actually. Considering the fact that there's some slight actually. I would say I'm quoted.
It's nothing too serious though.
Yeah. But nevertheless, this move is like the vital point for Black's expansion as well as White's expansion, because if we compare that to that.
That makes it an important area, because White's gonna, if Black plays the one in the former variation, isn't White gonna respond to that too? So then that means that Black got the expanding move in Sente, and then he can go back and defend if he really wants to.
Yeah. So
White's gonna play what, J9, and then Black can defend?
Yeah.
Or not? Yeah.
So like that. Sort of.
That's better for Black, right?
That's better for Black.
Yeah, White's not. I think Black was worried about White moving the stone out.
Yeah.
At P14.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, because you already have stones on the left side, even if White actually plays, actually jumps out, it's not an immediate concern, because Black just has so many stones out here that White is not going to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So one important thing to keep in mind, just to recap a little bit, is as you guys can see, this is a neutral macro game, and when you're trying to build your framework, you really do want to be consistent in terms of strategy. And for example, like we're talking about the approaching with P3 there. You really want to be consistent that, okay, this is what I'm looking for in this game. I'm looking for influence, and I want to be like quick, I want to be agile, I want to be flexible. So that's stay consistent, stick to your own tactics, and meanwhile just grapple those huge points on the board, I guess.
Right. With the huge points on the board, you really got to take those if you don't have to defend. I think one of the biggest lessons is that if you think you have to defend, you should take a moment to read it out, because it's going to be Gote if you defend. And if you don't have to defend, then you could have spent that Sente move and gotten a tempo. If you can gain the initiative or a tempo